What is up, RC enthusiasts? It's David from RunThatRc, and today we're going to do a little bit of talking about crawling lingo, tips and tricks, and show you right here with my little C24 little demo what I'm talking about, so hopefully you guys can understand what I'm trying to say, and it'll teach you how to crawl a little bit better, you know, maybe plan your routes a little bit better on your courses so that way you don't get hung up as much. So let's get down into this, and I'll go ahead and show you how this works. So today I got for you my C24 over here. It's got a 2-speed transmission, metal gears and everything, but you know, you can watch my other videos to see what's all done to this. Today we're going to talk about some lingo, so let's get to it. Alright, so when you're coming up to an obstacle, you're coming up to it and your front end gets up to it, you kind of want to see if you can actually get to that without hitting your bumper first. So sometimes your bumper will hit before your wheel, which obviously is not a good thing because you won't definitely go up if your bumper's hanging you up, but that angle right there, which goes like this from the wheel to the bumper, that's what they call the approach angle. So you want your approach angle to be as good as you can get it. You know, hopefully have a bumper that's not too extended so it doesn't hit the rock first or whatever, but as you can tell here, I have a good enough approach angle for this obstacle, so I can just go straight up to it and climb it. So that's no issue. So as you can tell here too on the descent, my approach angle is perfect. I have a lot of clearance right here, so that's good. That's what you call your approach angle. Now, when you see the back end come down right here, this is what they're going to call your departure angle. So when it hits there, as you can tell, my departure angle is not good enough for this obstacle. I hit my bumper before my wheel hit the ground. So you check your angle from there to your rear bumper, and that's going to be the angle of your departure. So the higher obviously your truck's lifted, or the shorter your trunk is, or the closer your back end to the wheel is, the better your approach angle usually is. So as you can tell here, that's a demonstration of getting hung up. But it's, you know, it's a Toyota, so it can do it. Well, there you go. So I've discussed an approach angle and departure angle. Now we're going to have what you call your breakover angle. When you get on top of a rock, see if this guy can do it. There you go. So my approach angle is good. So now I'm over it. I got over the rock, but unfortunately the obstacle is short, so my wheels are going to drop before these wheels, before the rear wheels even reach this obstacle. My front wheels are going to drop, so it's going to affect my breakover angle. As you can see here, once I continue forward, I'm what they call high-centered. So that's another term right there. This is what you call being high-centered, when you're stuck on the center of your body and your wheels are all off the ground spinning. That's a high center right there. And that has to do with your breakover angle. So obviously the breakover angle, the higher the lift, the better for your truck for breakover angle, but you know, there's obviously negatives to that too. The higher the lift, the better, or the more chances of a rollover, more top-heavy rig, you know. So yeah, there's ups and downs to everything, so it's up to you how you want to fix up your rig. I try to keep my rigs as low as possible to the ground without getting hung up, but you know, it's always not going to happen. Depends on the trails you're at, the terrain you're on, and everything. You're going to get hung up no matter what. It's a tiny little rig, but by the way, this applies for everything. This is not only for these little things. I'm teaching you about these just so you know the crawler basics, and if it's different for RC crawlers, let me know, because I'm talking with my experience from one-to-one crawling, so real trucks crawling. This is our terminology, so hopefully it's the same. I'm hoping it's the same. I don't see why it would be different, but yeah, so that's what it is right there. Now the other thing you gotta look out for when you're crawling is your ground clearance. Now your ground clearance is gonna be different at every point of your vehicle, so you're gonna have a different ground clearance on your bumper, a different ground clearance on how high your axle pumpkin is at, so that's the ground clearance there too, and the ground clearance from your center right here, your breakover, and your rear. But the most important for ground clearance, let me not blind you guys with those lights, the most important for ground clearance are your axles. As you can see right here, this is where you're going to measure the most of your ground clearance right here. It's not that much, but the only way you could change this is by putting bigger tires on your rig. The bigger the tires, the more your clearance is going to be for your axles. But other than that, that's the reason why I bring that up. It's because when you're driving on trails and stuff, you know, let's just say you're trying to go on here. You've also got to make sure when you're crawling obstacles and stuff that you're keeping your axles and stuff away from anything you can hit. So, you know, while you're trailing around, while you're doing your little spotting on your rig, because, you know, you're your own spotter when it comes to RC rigs. You don't need a spotter, you're your own spotter. So just look around, you know, make sure all your tires are not getting hung up anywhere. Make sure your axles are not, you know, hitting the rock like this. You got your axle hitting the rock like that, that's just gonna hang you up. So you wanna always make sure you clear stuff like that. You know, you put your wheels in the right place, right placements for your wheels and stuff. So that way when you do go over obstacles, you know, you just go smoothly through them, nothing hang up, and then you're done with the obstacle. So yeah, those are my little tips and tricks. You know, when you're trailing around and stuff, you always want to take a look at your rig before you come up to something. You know, the last thing you want to do is just come up to it and hit it with your axle. And now you're going to bind up your rig, possibly breaking parts, stripping gears, you know, yada 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 with broken stuff. And that's another point that I want to make with the scaleness of these rigs. And these rigs are meant to be scale rigs, not bashers. You know, you're not supposed to really put a brushless in here and do jumps with it and stuff. The parts weren't designed for that. The parts were designed for doing this, what you're seeing me do right now. So if you're doing anything more hardcore with this and it breaks and you're complaining about it, I don't know what to tell you, man. These things are just not meant for that. These things are scale, nice looking little rigs, you know, nice for display back there, and nice to look at while you're playing around with them, you know. So yeah, that's all. I just wanted to put out a little video showing you the terminology of, you know, approach, departure angle, breakover angle, clearance, ground clearance, just hopefully to teach other people that are getting into this to know what we're talking about whenever I say those things in my video, or you watch any other YouTubers crawling videos and they're talking about approach, departure, clearance and stuff. That's a good way to know. Yeah, those are just little tips on that. You know, there's other things to talk about with these, like suspension setup and droop setup and everything, but right now I just wanted to teach you the little terminologies, you know, like when you're going up an obstacle to one of your wheels, which is back here right now. I don't know why I didn't climb this way to show you that wheel coming off the ground. But yeah, when you have a wheel off the ground like that, you call it three-wheeling it, you know. And sometimes you get a little teeter-totter action going. But, you know, little things that crawlers talk about and stuff. But mainly, it's that approach, departure, breakover angle, and clearance are the main things you got to worry about when you're crawling around. So when you're checking out your rig, when you're going through some obstacles, just make sure, you know, you got that tire going up that one. Okay, that tire's about to hit that rock right there. Cool. I don't have any axles about to rub on anything. Clearance is good. Everything is good. And then the rig just goes through the motions of its crawling. And you make sure when you come down and your departure's good. And you're good. There you go. See, that's perfect crawl, not hung up anywhere. You know, last thing you want to do is come up to something like this. Let's just make it more extreme so that way. Like, oh yeah, look, it's a lifted truck. I can just go up this. So, oh, there you go. Now they're just doing that, trying their best to get up stuff. And you know, that can potentially damage stuff. You know, you don't really want to force your truck to get stuck like this. So always try to find the best way for your truck to get around obstacles. That's going to be your best bet for your rig to stay reliable and not break all the time on you. As you can see right here, my breakover angle is pretty close, but I think I might make this. Oh, I'm hung up a little bit, but I'll still get it. Oh, almost lost my truck. Well, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. That's just a little show and tell of what these terms mean and little tips and tricks of how to get around stuff. You know, just watch your tires, watch your axles, make sure they don't get stuck on anything. That's usually the case when I see my friends that just start crawling. You know, when they come up to an obstacle, it just straight hits the linkage right here in this, and they're just like, oh, well, I'm stuck, and they keep on trying to go for it. Like, look at your rig, see where it's at, see what you're hitting. Maybe you can back it up, take a different approach, line up a wheel properly to that angle, you know. And even with that right there, I believe that should be able to go up it. There you go, see? So yeah, you'll learn, you know, the more you crawl around, the more you'll figure this out. And I'm just putting this out to hopefully get that more embedded into people's thoughts, so when they're out there crawling, they'll think about those things and be less frustrated about getting stuck somewhere and going, my truck doesn't go over stuff or anything. Well, you gotta realize you've got stuff you need to maneuver around to make this truck go up stuff. You can't just go straight for things and expect it to work, you know. There's all technique into this stuff. That's the reason why it's fun. That's the reason why we love doing this. Well, alright guys, you guys have a great day. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope that helped some people out to learn some new terminology about these things and help them crawl a little bit better so they don't get as frustrated when they realize they're attempting these climbs in the wrong way or, you know. Well, alright guys, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe below. Also, thanks for watching this video. Now go out there, have some fun, and run that RC.